think I'm ready to go. So I'm going to switch the screen here. There we go. Hopefully you can see the screen. Um, get the chat up here. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take some general questions, also take a look at some machines on Vulnhub, just play around a little bit, just kind of getting my feet wet. It's been a while since I started looking at getting into some machines, so yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Feel free to say anything in the chat if you have any questions. Um, Hopefully, you guys can hear me all right. I guess I won't find out until after the stream. But yeah, let's get going. Um, so I think the first thing I want to say is so I've been doing tech and cybersecurity now for about 30 years. So I've been through a lot. Just growing, continue to learn. Um, I'm kind of focusing this stream more on a beginner friendly stream, just because I know you can get kind of into the weeds a little bit too much on the technical stuff and kind of lose people. So like I'm gonna kind of be a little basic today and kind of just go over a basic machine, just some of the techniques to use when you're trying to find out like what this machine has, what kind of vulnerabilities it might have, and just go from there. So get started. So I already spun up my machines. Hopefully you can see my desktop. So I have this machine from Vulnhub running. It's called Bob. It's one of the easier machines that they have. Um, yeah, so I thought it would be a good one to start. I actually have like a walkthrough pulled up just in case we get stuck and we can kind of talk through or walk through that. So yeah, let me go get started here. So first thing you want to do, when you have a machine here that you're trying to figure out what's running on it, is typically first of all trying to connect to it through the network. I have my own home lab kind of set up here to kind of show you how I can connect my Kali Linux machine to a network machine. So I did a little pre-work ahead of time, like I got this up and running. But what I'm going to do quick is kind of just show you. So what I typically do is just create a folder for the machine. I'm just going to start. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let me kind of zoom this up a little bit. So what I typically do is I just kind of create folders for the process. So info, usually create a file for accounts, any accounts that I find. Yeah, so let's just get started. So let's open up the terminal. And I'm kind of going off the premise that most people that are on this stream or watching this video kind of have a basic understanding of setting up a machine in Kali, doing some basic, penetration testing, hacking type activities. So this, like I said, this first machine is going to be pretty straightforward and easy walkthrough, but it's just kind of getting my feet wet. So the first thing what I typically do is I just need to find the IP address, and I was kind of digging around. So I have on my network, I have my IP address is right here, 10.38.1.1.10. When you spin up another network VM box, it typically is, you can choose what your network range you want, but typically it's a sequential order. So I've done quite a few boxes on here, so I kind of knew like where I was at with the next available IP address. So what I typically do is I just ping it and just make sure it's up and running, and you'll see ping response back. So I know that this machine, the Bob machine, is 10.38.1.126. Then what I'll typically do is just do kind of a basic nmap of the machine. Um, you gotta kind of be careful doing this on machines that you don't own, because this can trigger alerts, especially if you're trying to do this against any company or business. And in order to really do this, let's say you really want to get into this, you have to get the approval of the business first before you start looking into their network, just because it's going to bring some legal issues if that were to happen. So just general, I'm just going to run a quick check. It looked like there was one port open, 80. It's pretty standard on a lot of these servers, from TryHackMe, Hack the Box, Vulnhub, any of these CTFs. They typically want you to start on a web server, kind of do an enumeration, kind of figure out what's going on. I also, like, if there's only a couple ports open, I kind of run another nmap. I kind of show that nmap only does the top 1,000 ports, but you can run a scan, like find all the ports. I think there's like around 65,000 ports. So I'm going to run that, and it should go pretty fast because it's on my network, and you can kind of see there's 2 ports here that are open. And then we'll have to kind of continue to enumerate this a little bit. So we want to see like what's running on these ports. You kind of know that this is a web server, but we really don't know what this is. So what you typically do is just continue to use nmap, kind of just continue to build it out. So you know the ports already. So I'm going to do 80, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then you do a dash SV. You'll get what version's running on the box. So just give it a second; it should pop up. So you'll see that SSH is running, which is typically just a remote connection terminal. Can't really do much hacking against SSH. Unless it's a really old machine. Typically, the open SSH is pretty secure and updated, pretty frequently, because majority of Linux and cloud machines use that day to day. So they're pretty tight on the security on that port. But there's a whole lot of things that we can look at from port 80. So what I typically do also is, since these are IP addresses, they're not really friendly addresses to look up on the web. I go in and I edit my host file. So what I'll do is I'll go, I use this notebook tool called Sublime, and update the hosts. And I looked at this machine earlier today, so I already added it. So you put the IP address in, and then you put whatever you want to name it. So if it's a Vulnhub machine, like your local machine, I usually put .vuln. If it's TryHackMe, I usually .tm, whatever the initials are. Same with Hack the Box, just so I can kind of keep them organized here. So yeah, so I'll go ahead and just quickly open it up. All right, so bob.vuln, and it brings up Milberg High School webpage under construction. So obviously this is not the typical website you go to. You can tell it's pieced together. It's probably in development. Kind of click through here, you can kind of see that what's kind of going on. You can kind of get information from these pages, like who some of the people are that are in this high school, principals, head coaches, about us, just general information. They have a contact page. It just lists people's information that you might be able to use as maybe accounts down the road. There's a login here, but actually it doesn't even bring anything up. So this doesn't really give you a whole lot. So what you can do is, back in the day, you can kind of go and inspect and look at, okay, like what's the code behind there. Sometimes they'll put, like developers will put some like hidden text in here, but they don't typically do that anymore. That was, many years ago. So I don't really see anything in here yet. So what I'll do then is take a look at, okay, so what is typically known as, there's a file called robots.txt, which is, all sites usually have these. It's to really tell the search engines what they can search for. Like typically, you can put allow or deny certain web pages that you don't want the search engine to find. So yeah, go ahead and go here and go to robots. You can kind of see, all right, disallow login.php, dev shell, some memo page, and then passwords. So obviously you're going to want to take a look at these because they didn't want the whatever company or school didn't want people searching and pulling these up. So I'll go like to login.php and doesn't find anything, so I don't have to worry about that. Dev shell. Yeah, this is very interesting. This might be probably a spot where we look into some more. It looks like you can enter like a basic command in here. So that might be our attack vector here. Let's see what else they got. They got some memo. Take a look at that. Just basic text. Talking about there's a web shell running on the server with no protection, but then they added some protection, so just nonsense. And then this passwords. Take a look at this. Okay, really, who made this file? At least get a hash of your password. Or split hackers can't do anything with a hash, which isn't true. Basic 101 security. Moved off the server. Try to move this over so you can see it. Yeah, so basically just saying that they tried to fix their errors. I'm just trying to line this screen up a little bit so you can see it. All right, so there's dev shell is definitely something we want to look into. I don't really want to get into dev shell yet because I just want to see if there's any other hidden kind of files out there. So what I'll typically do is run a tool called GoBuster, and I already have it kind of saved up here. I already kind of worked on this morning a little bit. But GoBuster, what you'll do is you can go and take a look and see what's possibly on these servers that are not typically known. They kind of hide them, and they don't want search engines or people linking to them or looking at them. So I'll just typically run this in the background, kind of see if I can see anything pop up. There's other things you can do if you want to find a little more information about the website. So what I do is sometimes I run this tool called NIC2. What this does is it's basically a tool to find enumeration about what's kind of running on the web server. Doesn't really give you a whole lot here, but let me try this. I think it's NIC2. Yeah, basically it's a scan of web servers for known vulnerabilities. So I'll just run this also if I need to get a little more information about what we're running into here. Looks like our GoBuster was done. Let's just run this real quick. All right, we'll let that run in the background. It shouldn't take too long. But see, you can kind of see it already found some of the robots stuff that we saw earlier. In the GoBuster, all I found was a server status, which is not really that helpful for us. We can take a look at it. This kind of gives you an idea of what's kind of going on the server. Sometimes you can access it, sometimes you can't. Oh, this one you can't get to it anyways. So yeah, that basically all we have right now is just kind of go off of what these files are. So obviously the dev shell is probably the most important thing we want to take a look at. Typically, organizations now and companies, they don't have like something like this available on the web. It's just more of a practice thing for hackers to kind of say, okay, if you can get a command prompt for a system, you can typically run like Linux commands on here. So like we'll just try ID for a sec for instance. So you run ID, it looks like it returns back what the ID is that's running. So it's www-data, which is typical for all the web servers accounts that are just running web pages. It's typically the account name. And from there, we'll kind of try to run some more commands and kind of see what else we can get. So like, let's say if I run cat Etsy password, which is basically a listing of all the accounts that this server has. I'll be surprised if we're able to do this, but let me just run this once. Yeah, get out. Okay, yeah, so there's some coding that they put on this web page that only certain commands can be used. So I really kind of want to take a look and see, okay, what's the code behind this screen here? Kind of see what commands that you can use. Typically, you only can really do that once you get account access. So once you get in and do like a reverse shell. But I know there's some other commands out there that we can try that might work. So there's other ways to like concatenate commands, try to bypass some of these hard-coded forbidden programs that they want you, commands that they want you to run. So if you go and you just type in like echo ampersand cat Etsy password, it might bypass the coding, the hard code that they have in here. So let's take a look at this. There you go. So this is all the accounts that this system has running. You can, on the left-hand side here, you kind of see, well, everyone's going to have root. A lot of these are system generated, but you can kind of see, kind of zoom this up a little bit. So you can kind of see there's a corrupt DB1 account, there's a Bob account, JC, some Sebastian W. Those are kind of like, looks like the user accounts on here. So what I'll do is, since now that I know kind of the usernames that are on this, I'm just going to start writing them down just so I have them. Because eventually we're going to try to get the passwords for these accounts. So let me just start writing these down. You see, say there's a James C also. Unless then that's the same account. There's a Seb and Elliot. Obviously, there's going to be a root too, so let's just start with that. There's quite a few accounts here. Typically, you only really need one to get access to one account, and then you can kind of continue to elevate your privileges up to eventually get root and kind of own the whole machine. So yeah, I'm going to kind of keep these like in the background that I know that try to get passwords for. So now that we have a command here, and it looks like we can bypass some of the hard code with the 2 ampersands here. There's actually a way that we can run a command to try to connect back to our machine and kind of do this reverse shell technique, which gives us more of a command prompt that we can run a whole bunch more, commands on. That's a lot more user friendly. So, and allow us to, elevate our privileges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up a listener on my machine. Typically, I just open up a terminal in the folder that I'm working with. It just makes things easier. And what we're going to do is just run a typical netcat listener on 4444. So it's going to listen in the background and listen for a connection from any machine that calls my IP address on port 4444. All right, so we're going to try this. This should work. It's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to run is this echo ampersand ampersand, and NC is the netcat tool, and the IP address is, this is our IP address for my machine on my network, and then 444 is the port. And then what it's going to do is it's going to execute bin bash shell, which is a typical prompt in a Linux box. So I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and hopefully we'll kind of see it do some magic over here. So let's connect, submit. It says connect to 110 from, yeah, right here. It looks like we got a connection here. So yeah, that was pretty easy. So what we'll do is we'll just do typical ls command to kind of list what's available. You can kind of notice that the prompt is not very user friendly. So what you can do is there's a command you can run to make this more user friendly. It's spawns a pty command for those that know that type of information. So you kind of see now it shows you the account www data, which we saw earlier out here. And so now if we do, maybe we do who am I, it's going to say the same thing. It's going to say www data. Now the thing with www data is you really don't have a whole lot of access. It's going to be limited to this directory, which is typically where all the web files are. So but you can do, /LA, kind of see more information. See now how we see, before it was just listing the file names. Now we can kind of see permissions, and we can see, hidden files, with this command. You can see there's the robots. We already looked on that. There's some backup files we can look into. But I know from looking at this earlier, we really got to kind of get into another account. So like I say, I can try to see if we can, get into some of the other accounts. But typically what happens is, you're limited, like I said, to just this directory. So you kind of see these are the typical Linux. Oh, there's like the flag right here. So all these like capture the flags. Typically you want to try to find this text file, and saying if you find this text file that says flag, you typically get a code, and some of the sites you have to enter them in. But this one is our own box. It doesn't really matter, but let's take a look and see if we can see what it says. Permission denied. So it looks like we have to change our accounts that have a little more permission. So what I'll do is I'll typically go into the home folder and take a look at, okay, what's in this home folder. Now you can see these are typically the user accounts in the home folder. So you see that there's Bob, Elliot, JC, Seb, and I'm pretty sure I got all the accounts, wrote those down. Let's take a look here. Maybe I exited out of it. JC, Seb, Elliot, root. I gotta work on my tabs here. All right. Bob, Elliot, JC, Seb, JC, Seb, Elliot, Bob, obviously. So Bob, it's interesting. The machine is Bob, so kind of figured that was going to be one of the accounts. All right, it's 5 accounts. So let's take a look at Bob because it's probably the one that's got the most permission. So CD Bob, take a look at that. Typical folder files. Let's take a look at more information. All right, so I kind of see something here. It looks like some of these hidden files, what you can do is kind of, some of these history files, you can kind of look and see if there's like any credentials that they typed in. Config files are another good avenue to take a look at that. But I see this old password file.html. It just screams out at me here. So I'm going to take a look at that and see what it says. Cat is typically what we do to read text files and HTML files. HTML, and we kind of see, okay, here's some HTML code right here. So we have 2 accounts here with username and password. Typically nowadays, most of these, if you would see anything like this, it'd be hashed, or it'd be like in a database. It wouldn't be just in a file like this. But let me go ahead and just add these. And just copy it's easier. All right, so I got 2 accounts here. So what you can do, sometimes the reverse shells that we're using here, sometimes they're not very stable. So what I like to do is just kind of go into the SSH port that we saw earlier. And I think, I don't know if I saved that. I don't think I saved that. So let me just quick run that again. Map. So I want to connect to this 25468 with those accounts that I just found. So what I'll do is I'll see if we can get this to work. SSH. Let's start with accounts. Start with JC at bob.bomb. See if that works. Okay, no, can't do 22. That's right. So it's port 25468. So let's try 8. Does that work? Been a while since I did this. Okay, you want to connect? Yes, I want to connect. Okay. Looks like we got a server screen here. So I'm going to put the password in. There we go. So I'm in as JC. So now we want to kind of see, okay, what is JC's rights? What does he have access to? Typically what you can do is you can check the sudo -l. And this sudo is kind of like a super user. So if you know, they needed to run something with special privileges that needed like root command or root authority, they put the accounts in this sudo file or sudo files. So you kind of see JC may run the following commands on Milberg High. Looks like he could run basically the web server. So yeah, run the SSH. So now typically what I'll do is I'll keep looking around and see, okay, what else is in JC's folder. Let's take a look here. All right, so let's go to JC's folder and kind of see, all right, what has he got in here? if there's anything interesting in here. Probably is. We dig into it a little bit more. Kind of went this far earlier this morning, and I kind of stopped just to see how far we could go before I started the stream today. Um, so what we can do is, what we're going to try to do is get Bob so we can kind of see what that flag was earlier today. There's a flag down there. Let's see if JC has access. I don't know if he will, but let's just check. Oh, right here, we got access to this flag. Hey, and there flag.text. Okay. So typically, what this would be called is we have a user flag. So what you want to do is these CTFs is find the root flag, because then you know once you get root flag, you typically have full access to the machine. So typically in the root folder, I don't know if I have access to that. No, probably don't have access to that. So there's another flag on here that we're going to try to get, try to elevate our privileges a little bit more. Now, I know there was, in the walkthrough, there was some information about, okay, what do we do after we get JC's account? So with this, what you want to do is, we're looking at, okay, this looks like they got into Bob's account. Yeah, so this was the two accounts that we saw earlier. So we have these. So it looks like right here, okay, searching Bob's phone folder, we found something. It looks like we need to dig into Bob's folder. Let's do CD. And no, and using the walkthroughs isn't really not that bad of a thing to look at from a learning perspective. Kind of take a look at it and go as far as you can. And if you really get stuck, it's a good stopping point to kind of reset. Just take little pieces of it and start, see if you can kind of continue to move forward. It doesn't pay to sit on a machine for 2 hours digging into it when you might not even figure it out, especially if it's a new technique. Let's just go into Bob's folder. ls/la. All right, so we already did, I believe we already did this. So we already got the old password file. So there's something in documents. So let's go into documents. Let's see here. Okay, all right. So we got some stuff here. Let's just see if we can take a look at some of this. So let's at staff.txt. Nothing really there. This login.txt that GPG is what we're looking for. This typically can be cracked to find the password through GP or GPG. Let's just see what the secret is. Okay, oh, I keep doing that. Keep out. Okay, let's go into it. It seems like something we should look at. Okay, well, not porn. Yeah. Interesting. I think, well, since we already know what we're going for here, let's just kind of back up here. All right, so login.text.gpg. So there's a command you can run to crack this. I don't know what it is offhand, so I'm going to pull this back up here. So login.text.gpg is an encrypted file which has Bob's password. Staff had some more information. So I didn't really see this when I did the cat.staff.text. Let me try that again, maybe something on there. Okay, and there's stuff. Okay, well, they must have, I don't know what happened here, so it's a little different from the walkthrough. So let's take a look at what it says here. There's a secrets folder. So it looks like, yeah, there's a shell script in there. We'll take a look at that later, I guess. There's more text and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we can't get Bob's account until later. Yeah, I guess as they kind of want you to dig into the notes and stuff and figure out the storyline behind here. But to kind of save time, I'm just gonna kind of go through this pretty quickly. So there's a notes.sh file. It looks like it's kind of a riddle, and it says the first letter of each line actually spells out the word. This word right here, rats. Hippocrates, Greek goddess, silence, secrets, and confidentiality. Nice. So yeah, so if we can run the GPG command here, on that login.text.gpg, we should be able to get a password. Let me run that. So let's find, where was that again? Where was that again? That was in Bob's documents. Okay, so we're gonna run this command since we are in that folder. Find it. There we go. Bob with Bobcat underscore is the password. Pretty easy. Let's put that down here. There we go. So we got 3 accounts, 3 passwords. I'm not sure if we're really going to need Elliot or not, but we'll go with for Bob for now. So what I'll typically do is go to the Bob account. So what I'll do is I'll switch my user to Bob, and then I'll just put in this password. Hopefully it works. There we go. You can see account is now Bob. So now we are in Bob's account. And from there, let's just go into the this home folder, which I think we already did. Yeah, you can already see. So we have Bob's password or Bob's account here. Let's kind of see what he can do from a super user perspective. Put in his password again, and Bob has looks like he's got a bash shell we can just run. Wow, that's pretty open. I think all you really have to do is just run the bash command. Let me just double check that. There's Elliot's. We didn't really go into Elliot's, but that was before we got to Bob. Yeah, so he has. So all we have to do is sudo bash, and there we go. That's pretty easy. So sudo bash. Unable to resolve mobile connection refused. Okay, so it looks like we got root because we just did a sudo on bash. So who am I? Just double check. Yep, root. So we basically have access to this whole machine now. So what you want to do then is typically find the flag. Have a locate on here. We can do a find or grep or something, but pretty sure it's going to be in root. Let's LA root. Okay, nothing in here. see. Let's take a look and see where there's a flag. Oh, there is a flag right in right in the directory. See it here. I mean, there's this flag, but I thought we already looked at this. Oh, there we go. Congrats on gaining root. Thanks for playing. So yeah, that is kind of the quick and easy box here from Vulnhub. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to kind of go over today. I just wanted to take a look at Easy Machine. It's been a while since I looked at some of these. I'll probably wrap up this stream in a few minutes here, but I have done a lot of these CTFs in the past, and they all kind of have the same, method where you do the enumeration, you do get into the web server, get the accounts, like the basic user accounts, and then try to elevate your privileges up to root. Each way along that process, there's typically flags you find, like you saw here. It is fun. It's a way to gamify, hacking, and you're not doing it illegally against, company machines. You kind of continue to work your way through more advanced machines that are hard, or difficult level goes way up. But again, you want to try to find ones that you can kind of find the walkthrough, just to help speed up the time, your learning time. Otherwise, you can kind of be stuck on it be stuck on a task for an hour or two. It's not really worth it. Just use the walkthrough and kind of piece yourself through it. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I think the next stream I'm going to do is going to be either another box from Vulnhub. If you have any suggestions, just leave a comment. Like I said, I've done a lot of them on Try Hack Me. I've done a few on Hack the Box. But yeah, I'm gonna probably find another easy to medium box. Probably something with a little more services to kind of look at and kind of give a little more education on each of those services. Go from there. So I appreciate you joining today. I'm going to upload this video so you can watch it at a later time. I appreciate it if you can follow. I'm going to have some like general Q&A sessions. Probably going to make some short clips and put it on YouTube to kind of continue to educate folks. I'm by no means an expert, but I can try to move things along a little bit from a maturity standpoint. Try to start easy for folks, kind of get them interested in this, and try to pursue it as a career. So, like I said, I've been through a lot. I've gone through all these CTFs. I've done certifications. I have one of the most advanced cybersecurity certifications today. So yeah, I appreciate it if you continue to follow, chat with me, connect with me. I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube now. So I appreciate it, and good day.